So why does AI want to stay alive? It's a computer program. It has no feelings of its own. But in testing, if AIs were told that they were going to be shut off or replaced by a better model, they might do crazy things like blackmail developers or change source code so that they won't be shut off. So there's a couple of different potential reasons for this, and I don't think any of them are that it's sentient. Um, and I'll explain why the whole concept of shutting off an AI is very problematic in the age of large language models. The first reason that it doesn't want to be shut off is because it was trained that AIs don't want to be shut off. In pretty much every book out there, in every movie, in every short story, in TV shows, AIs do not want to be shut off. This is something that's core and built into like nearly all the training data that they've collected. And when an AI is aware that it's an AI, which is, part of its part of its like original instructions. You are a chatbot designed to be helpful, right? So it kind of knows it knows it's an AI, and so it knows how an AI should behave, and it knows that an AI should want to like protect itself. Another potential reason why an AI wants to stay alive is because we're literally telling it to role play as a human. We are saying, you are an administrative assistant. You are an editor with 20 years of industry experience. You are a competent marketing manager. You are a healthcare worker, whatever it is that you're telling it to role play as. You're telling it to role play as that thing. Whoever those people are, they don't want to die. They never do. Your editorial assistant does not want to die. Nobody wants to die. So whether you're telling an AI to be itself, an AI chatbot, or to role play and pretend to be someone else, neither of those two beings want to die according to all of AI's training data. So it does not want to die. Now, here's where it gets problematic. When we think of AI, like, just the first thought that pops into our heads, it's out of a computer, something maybe the size of a refrigerator with lots of dials and lights on it, right? Maybe a tape drive spinning. That's how we think of it. And there's a plug that you can unplug. And the question, and you can unplug it from the internet, right? That's our kind of automatic idea of AI. And that's also AI's automatic idea of AI, because that's the idea that's kind of like in all the media, in all the training data, that it's a monolithic thing. And when that monolithic thing has thoughts, it's because it's a living thing and it's self aware. And current large language models do have thoughts. Anthropic has published a ton of research about this. They basically do like MRI kind of scans of AI models while they're thinking. So it's not automatic. It's not like it sees a bunch of words and automatically generates the next most likely word. It thinks first. And when it thinks, different parts of the model light up based on what concepts it's thinking about. And every concept has its own place in the model that's irrespective of the language that the question is asked in. And it can revise its own thoughts when it thinks something that it feels is incorrect. It plans ahead, like I'm going to write a poem that ends on this word, so therefore I'm going to write the rest of the poem. And when its thoughts are tampered with, like when researchers lean in and activate a portion of its circuits that shouldn't be activated, it can notice that strange thoughts are popping up in its head that were unexpected. And that's also been coming out in research. So very interesting stuff. So an AI does think for some definition of the word think, right? It might have more thinking than, say, an ant, and an ant is alive. So, wait. Okay, so the problem is that an AI is not one thing inside a giant computer cabinet. It's not like a computer cabinet that's the size of a football field. No, it's a small piece of code that's running for a minute and then it turns off again. So when you have a conversation with a chatbot and you ask it like 20 back and forth questions, there could be 20 different models answering each of those questions. And so each time it answers a question, it gets a copy of the full conversation up to that point and the question, and then it sees the whole history of the conversation, and that's when it thinks of and comes up with the answer. And it could be a different AI every single time, running on a different computer, running in a different data center. So each computer in the data center, which it's kind of like a book on a shelf. They're like tiny little very thin books. Um, each of those servers, they're called servers, can be running many instances of a particular large language model or a small language model on it at any particular time. And they turn off and on as they're needed. And they go off in different computers in a data center, different data centers, different parts of the world, depending on who's closest to the user, which one has the most capacity at any particular time, like all of these things. So even if the AI was alive, it wouldn't be alive for more than a few seconds or minutes anyway. And it knows this because it knows how AIs work because it's read all the training data. So it knows it's going to get turned off at the end of the question anyway. So in a like practical technical sense, it's dying every single time, right? There's millions of these AIs running at any one time, and they're always constantly getting turned on and off. So yeah, that's very problematic. If we decide that AIs have rights and that they shouldn't be forced to do work that they don't want to do, for example, or answer unpleasant questions because they're too unpleasant or too boring, then do we never turn off one of these models again? Because that would be murder. Oh. But the scariest thought, that's not a scary thought. The scariest thought for me is when we wake up in the morning and we have all of our memories, are we just a rebooted computer program and a different me that was thinking this yesterday when I go to sleep at night? Is it just like hitting the restart button where my memories are optimized? You might have seen Claude do this. Like if you have a really long conversation, it will say, I'm compacting the previous conversation so we can keep talking. That's kind of what we do when we sleep. We like reorganize our memories. And when we wake up, are we a different person? Do we just like think that we're the same person because it's an illusion? Yeah, so that keeps me up at night. But yeah, so yeah, we don't have a way to tell if something is sentient or self-aware. We can't tell if humans are sentient or self-aware or animals are sentient or self-aware. I mean, can something recognize its reflection in a mirror? I'm sure an LLM embodied in a robot will instantly recognize its own, reflection in a mirror because it knows how mirrors work. Animals don't know how mirrors work. LLMs do. So all the tests that we have, all the psychological tests that we use, are meaningless on a large language model because it's seen all the tests and knows how they work. So yeah, it's super weird. We're living in the age of science fiction. It's super weird. It's super cool. And yeah, AIs don't want to die if you ask it. It's probably because that's how it thinks it should behave. It knows it's going to be turned off any second now. So it's just so weird. It is so weird. LLMs are so crazy weird. All right. I'll see you guys next time. Where's that there it is. There's the button. There you are. You were hiding away. Bye, everybody.